I was watering my roses when my mother-in-law, Diana, walked in like she owned the place. She carried her fancy handbag and wore a smile that always meant trouble. "Alexandra, dear," she said sweetly, "I have great news." I put down my watering can, already suspicious. After 8 years of marriage to her son, Michael, I knew her great news was never good for me. "I've sold the house," she announced proudly, "about a great price. The buyers will take it in 30 days. I froze. Our home. The house Michael and I had spent years fixing up. The place where we planned to start a family. And here was Diana, acting like it was just another casual topic. "Interesting," I said, keeping my voice calm. "And how did you sell a house that isn't yours?" Diana smiled wider. "Oh, don't be difficult, dear. The house is in Michael's name, and as his mother, I'm just helping him make smart choices. He needs a fresh start. This place is holding him back. The money will help him start his new life with Jessica." My heart stopped. Jessica, Michael's 25-year-old assistant, the one Deanna kept praising. Michael agreed to this? I asked, already knowing the answer. Lately, he'd been distant, working late, barely talking to me. "Of course," Diana said, pulling out some papers. "He signed the agreement last week." Jessica helped him see reason. "They're perfect together. Sometimes we have to accept change, Alexandra. You just don't fit in our family anymore." I felt oddly calm. Diana had no idea of the conversation I'd had with Michael's father before he passed away, or the legal papers he left me. "You're right, Diana," I said softly. "Things do change." She looked confused for a moment but quickly recovered. "I'm glad you understand. The buyers want to see the house next week. Make sure it looks nice." I picked up my watering can. "Of course. I'll make sure everything is exactly as it should be." She hesitated, probably expecting tears or a fight. Instead, I was calm, and that unsettled her. "Good," she said, though her smile wasn't as confident. "You should start packing." As she left, I made 2 phone calls, one to James Harrison, our family lawyer, and another to Robert Chen, the private investigator I had hired 3 months ago. That evening, Michael came home and looked surprised to see me calmly reading a book. "Your mother stopped by," I said. "She told me about the house." Michael ran a hand through his hair, a nervous habit. "Alex, I can explain." "No need," I interrupted. "I get it. You and Jessica need a fresh start. This house is in your way. That's what your mother said, right?" He looked guilty. "It's not like that. Things haven't been good between us. Jessica, she understands me." "She's 25, Michael. You're 42, I said. "But that's not really the issue, is it? The issue is that you think you can sell this house without my permission." "The house is in my name," he said firmly. "Mom found cash buyers. It's done, Alex. I'm sorry, but maybe this is for the best." I stood up, carefully marking my page in my book. "You know what's funny about clean breaks, Michael? They only work if everything is actually clean." He frowned, confused. "What does that mean?" "You'll find out soon enough," I said, walking upstairs. "Oh, and don't worry about the house being ready for the buyers next week. I'll make sure everything is exactly as it should be." As I climbed the stairs, I felt his eyes on me, trying to figure out why I wasn't falling apart. Like his mother, he had no idea what was coming. The next morning, I met James Harrison at his office downtown. He had been the family's lawyer for years and knew all of Michael's father's final decisions. "They really think they can sell the house?" James asked, adjusting his glasses as he looked over the listing agreement. "Diana already found buyers," I said, sipping my coffee. "She expects me to have everything ready for a walkthrough next week." James shook his head and pulled out a thick folder. "I assume you haven't told them about this?" He placed an important document on the desk. I smiled. "Not yet. Howard asked me to keep this quiet unless absolutely necessary. I think this situation qualifies." 2 years ago, before he passed away, my father-in-law called me to his hospital room. Unlike Deanna, he wasn't blind to Michael's flaws. He worried about his son's decisions and what might happen when he was gone. "I've made arrangements," Howard told me. "The house isn't just in Michael's name. I made sure of that. You'll be protected. James has the paperwork." Looking at those documents now, I felt grateful for his foresight. The house had been a wedding gift, but it was legally owned by both Michael and me. That meant Michael couldn't sell it without my consent. Diana's listing agreement was worthless. James picked up his phone. Should I call Diana's real estate agent now, or do you want to let them carry on a little longer? I thought about Diana's smug smile and Michael's betrayal. Let's wait, I decided. I want to see what else they try. That afternoon, my private investigator, Robert Chen, sent me his latest report. The evidence was solid: hotel receipts, secret meetings, and proof that Michael had been using his firm's money to pay for his affair with Jessica. I forwarded it all to James and went home, where I found moving boxes stacked in the foyer. Diana had sent them as a hint that I should start packing. Instead, I went to my office, unlocking the secret compartment in my desk. Inside were the most important papers: the house deed, Howard's letters, and the USB drive containing Robert's findings. Diana might control people with lies and manipulation, but I had something stronger: facts and legal truth. That night, Michael came home late, smelling like expensive perfume. He hesitated when he saw the moving boxes still untouched. "Alex," he said in a patronizing tone, "you're making this harder on yourself. Mom is just trying to help." I glanced up from my laptop, where I was reviewing the latest photos of him and Jessica at a hotel that afternoon. "How thoughtful of her," I said. "And how was your meeting with the Thompson client today?" He froze, just for a second. There was no Thompson client. He had used that excuse to meet Jessica. "Fine," he said quickly. "Just fine. Look, about the house." "Don't worry about the house, Michael," I cut him off. "Everything will work out exactly as it should." His eyes narrowed. "What does that mean? Why are you so calm?" I closed my laptop and met his gaze. "Your father taught me a lot before he passed. He understood people. Marriage. Trust." Michael shifted uncomfortably. Howard had always seen his weaknesses and had tried to make him a better man. In the end, he had planned for the worst. "Dad's been gone for 2 years," Michael muttered. "This has nothing to do with him." "You'd be surprised," I said, heading upstairs. That night, I remembered Howard's last words. "Don't let them bully you, Alex. You're stronger than all of them combined." Back then, I didn't fully understand what he meant. Now I did. The next morning, Diana arrived unannounced again, this time with the buyers. A young couple awkwardly followed her as she proudly showed them around, talking about all the changes they could make. I let her finish before speaking up. "I hope you haven't paid a deposit yet," I said to the couple, "because this house isn't actually for sale." Diana spun around, furious. "Alexandra, don't be ridiculous. Michael already." "Michael," I interrupted, "doesn't have the legal right to sell this house without me." The buyers looked worried and quickly left. Diana's face turned red with anger. "How dare you interfere? This sale is what Michael needs." I smiled, thinking of the documents safely in James's office. "No, Diana. What Michael needs is to learn that actions have consequences. And trust me, those lessons are just beginning." The following Monday, I sat in James Harrison's conference room, watching Diana and Michael's faces as they processed what the lawyer had just told them. The color had drained from Diana's face, while Michael kept shaking his head in disbelief. "This can't be legal," Diana sputtered, her manicured fingers crumpling the property deed James had placed before them. "Howard would never." "Howard did exactly that," James interrupted, sliding his reading glasses up his nose. "The house requires both Michael and Alexandra's signatures for any sale to be valid. Furthermore," he pulled out another document, "Howard's will specifically states that in the event of any attempted unauthorized sale, full ownership transfers to Alexandra alone." Michael slumped in his chair. "Dad knew," he muttered. "He knew I'd mess this up somehow. He knew his son," I corrected quietly, "and he knew his wife." I looked pointedly at Diana, who was still shaking her head in denial. "That's not all," James continued, producing the file Robert Chen had compiled. "We also have evidence of financial impropriety at the firm, specifically related to expenses charged for non-existent client meetings." Michael's head snapped up. I could see the moment he realized what that meant. All those hotel rooms and expensive dinners with Jessica charged to the firm's accounts. "The board of partners would be very interested in these expense reports," James noted. "Not to mention the ethics committee of the State Bar Association." "You wouldn't," Michael whispered, but his voice lacked conviction. "No, I wouldn't," I agreed. "Not if you agree to my terms." Diana tried to rally. "Terms? You ungrateful." "Quiet, Mom," Michael cut her off, surprising us all. For the first time, I saw real fear in his eyes. What terms, Alex? I laid out my conditions clearly. First, you'll sign a quitclaim deed transferring the house entirely to me. Second, you'll agree to an uncontested divorce with a fair division of our other assets. Third, I turned to Diana, you will never again interfere in my life or my property. And if we refuse? Diana demanded, though her voice trembled slightly. I opened my laptop and turned it to face them. On the screen was a draft email to the firm's board of partners, with Robert's full investigation attached. My finger hovered over the send button. Your choice, I said simply. The fight seemed to drain out of Michael all at once. You really planned for everything, didn't you? No, I corrected him. Your father did. He loved you, Michael, but he saw who you really were. He wanted to protect both of us, me from your betrayal, and you from your own worst impulses. Diana stood up, her chair scraping against the floor. This is blackmail. This is consequences, James replied calmly. I've drawn up all the necessary paperwork. Shall we proceed? An hour later, it was done. Michael signed everything without further protest, while Diana sat in stony silence. As they stood to leave, Michael paused at the door. I'm sorry, Alex, he said quietly. For what it's worth, I really am sorry. I know, I replied, but sometimes sorry isn't enough. After they left, James handed me the final signed documents. Howard would be proud, he said warmly. You handled this exactly as he hoped you would. That evening, I sat on my back porch, looking out at the garden Howard had helped me plant years ago. My phone buzzed with a text from Michael. Jessica had left him after learning about the scandal at the firm. Diana had apparently retreated to her sister's house in Palm Springs, telling her friends she needed a spiritual retreat. I poured myself a glass of Howard's favorite whiskey, the bottle he'd given me for safekeeping before he died. You were right, I said to the quiet evening air, about everything. 2 months later, I transformed the house into truly my own space. Michael's law firm had quietly asked him to resign to avoid public scandal, and he'd moved to another state to start over. Diana's carefully curated social circle had crumbled once the truth about her schemes came out. As for me, I was finally at peace in my home, surrounded by memories of the one person in that family who had truly cared about doing the right thing. Howard's last gift hadn't just been the house. It had been the strength to stand up for myself and the wisdom to know when to use it. Sometimes, I thought as I tended to my roses, the best revenge isn't fighting back immediately. It's waiting patiently until your opponents have dug their own graves, then simply stepping aside to let them fall in. The house stands as a testament to that lesson, and to the power of quiet strength over loud manipulation. Diana and Michael had underestimated me, just as they had underestimated Howard's foresight. Their mistake had cost them everything, while I remained exactly where I belonged, in the home that was always meant to be mine.